March 7th, 8:17 p.m. You are at the kitchen sink, dish soap on your hands. You open your banking app, $31,400. Then the brokerage app, $84,200. Then the spreadsheet you have kept for 9 years. Something clicks that has never clicked before. You are never going to be broke again. This is how you got here. You are 24 years old. Your father is 58, sitting at a kitchen table covered in papers. Pension statements, Social Security estimates. A yellow notepad covered in numbers written in his handwriting, the same handwriting that used to sign permission slips and birthday cards. He says, "I worked 40 years and I'm still not sure it's enough." He is not asking for money. He is not complaining. He is showing you your future, your specific, detailed, individualized future, if you do not do something different. You have never thought about your father this way before. You have thought about his character, his work ethic, his stubbornness, his dry humor. You have not thought about him as a financial system. Now you do. Your father is a good man. He did everything people say to do. He worked hard. He paid his bills. He raised you. He did not take risks. He did not make mistakes. And he is sitting at a table at 58 with a yellow notepad, not sure it's enough. That image stays with you. It becomes the engine. It runs underneath everything that comes next. That night you open Excel. Income, $2,843 per month. Rent, $1,100. Student loans, $340. Car payment, $260. Everything else, basically nothing. You create a tab on the right side of the page. You name it machine. You color it green. The tab is mostly empty. You do not tell anyone about this spreadsheet. Not your girlfriend, not your coworkers, not your father. There is something almost embarrassing about starting at zero and believing it will matter. Starting at zero and naming what you are doing after something that sounds like a factory. You set up a transfer, $200 a month, from checking to a high-yield savings account. You pick one with an interest rate that sounds like a typo. The first month it earns 67 cents. You laugh. You keep going. 3 years pass. You are 27. Your savings account hits $10,243. It earns $41 a month now, just enough to cover your streaming subscriptions. Nobody claps. Nobody notices. Your coworker Derek shows you his new truck in the parking lot. F-150 Lariat, black. Full package, he says. You're still driving that Corolla? He means it as a joke. The Corolla is 11 years old. It has a dent in the rear bumper you have been meaning to fix. You say, it runs. What you do not say, the Corolla is paid off. You bought it used 3 years ago with money you saved specifically for that purpose. And the $260 that used to be a car payment goes straight into the savings account every month now, instead of into a lender's account. Derek's truck is loud. Yours is quiet. Yours is also yours. You learn something in this moment that you will learn over and over. Most financial progress is invisible. Nobody sees the number growing. They see the truck. They see the Corolla. They draw conclusions. The conclusions are wrong. You are 28. You have been doing this for 4 years. Your savings account has $18,700, and your Roth IRA has $6,200. You do not feel different. You do not look different. You are still driving the Corolla. Then your car needs brake work. New rotors. New pads. The estimate is $1,400. You pay it. You pay it without checking your account. You pay it the way you pay for groceries, without panic, without calculation, without running the number in your head first. You pay it because you have $1,400 in your savings account, and the car needs $1,400, and those two facts line up without friction. That moment, the absence of panic, is the first real evidence this works. Your friend Jordan calls that week, stressed. He went to the emergency room for something minor. The bill is $600. He put it on a credit card because he did not have $600 in his account. The card is charging 24% interest. You do not say anything to Jordan. You listen. You have been in that waiting room too. The financial kind. The one where the numbers do not add up and the walls feel close. But you know something now that Jordan does not know. You know you could have covered his bill. Not that you would have. Not that you should have. Just that you could have. Your savings made that possible. The safety net is no longer just an idea. It is a balance. And a balance is something you can feel. Malik is your closest friend from college. Malik makes more money than you do. $78,000 to your $52,000. He is good at his job. He is good at life. He is the kind of person who makes things look easy. Malik also leases a BMW 330i at $590 a month. He has an opinion about it, which is, It is worth it. He researched it. The payment fits the budget, barely. It is the right move, he says. You need to look the part. Malik also bought shares of a crypto token someone at work told him about. He has shown you the app. The number goes up and down in ways that are exciting and terrifying in equal measure. He says, "You're still doing that savings thing? Bro, you're missing the bull run." You do not argue. You transfer $400 into your Roth IRA that night, the same way you do every month. Your portfolio does not have a personality. It does not get excited. It does not check Twitter for hot tips. That is the point. You are 30. Your savings and investments cross $50,000. This is how it is divided. $28,000 in your high-yield savings account. $22,000 in your brokerage account. The invested portion earns $2,100 a year now. That is not life-changing money. You know this. $2,100 a year is $175 a month. That is a car payment. That is a month of rent in a cheaper city. But you do the math, the real math, the long math, and something shifts. If you added nothing else, if you stopped contributing, if you just let the $50,000 sit at a conservative 7% return for 20 years, $193,000. You have heard of compound interest. Everyone has heard of it. But hearing about it and feeling it are different things. This is the feeling. It is like gravity, like time, something that exists whether you believe in it or not, and works whether you use it or not, and punishes you quietly for every year you do not. You do not tell anyone about this realization. You just keep investing. Malik texts you at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. Can you spot me $2,000, pay you back next month? His crypto tanked. His rent is due. He did not budget for this. He did not have a buffer. He had the BMW payment, and the lifestyle, and the number on the screen that used to go up and now goes down. You send the money. You do not check your balance before you do it. You know what is there. It lands in his account in 30 seconds. Malik calls you the next day. He says, "You always have money. How do you always have money?" You do not give him the spreadsheet speech. You do not explain the Roth IRA or the savings account or the machine tab you have been feeding for 6 years. You just say, "Don't worry about it." But that night, you lie in bed and think about your father. You think about him at 58 with the yellow notepad. You think about the question he was really asking at that kitchen table. You realize you have become the person your father needed and never had. The spreadsheet is no longer only about you. You are 31. Your company announces layoffs. You survive, you are fine, but you find out who did not survive, and one of them is a coworker who was there 6 years. He got 3 months of severance. He has a mortgage. 2 kids, a leased Audi Q5. You hear him on the phone in the parking lot. He is talking to someone, his wife, maybe, and he is saying, "I don't know what we're going to do." You drive home in the Corolla, still paid off, no payment, no lien. You own it the way you own the things that matter. You open the spreadsheet when you get home. Your total, savings plus brokerage plus Roth, is $72,000. You run a number. If you lost your job tomorrow, you could live for 18 months without touching a credit card, without calling anyone, without becoming the person on the phone in the parking lot. That is what the father at the kitchen table never had. A buffer, a gap between himself and disaster. You close the laptop. You do not tell anyone. You are 33. Your total portfolio crosses $100,000. This is how it is divided. $31,400 in savings, $68,800 across your Roth IRA, your brokerage account, and an HSA you quietly maxed for 3 years because you read that medical expenses are the #1 cause of bankruptcy and you decided you would not be a statistic. Your portfolio throws off $3,800 a year in dividends. Your bare survival number, rent, food, utilities, gas, is $1,850 a month. You do the math. Your portfolio now covers 2 months of your life every year without you touching the principal. That is not retirement. You know this. You are 33. You have years of working ahead of you. But it is a floor, a place you cannot fall below, a base that exists underneath everything else. Your father spent 40 years never quite reaching a floor. You reached it on a Tuesday. You are 34. You are washing dishes. You open the banking app. $31,400 in savings. Then the brokerage app. $84,200 in investments. Then the spreadsheet. 9 years of rows. The $200 a month that became $400, then $600. The months you missed because something came up. The months you doubled down because something else went well. You scroll to the income column. The 67 cents that became $41. That became $175. That became $316 a month in passive income. Money you did not work for, did not earn, did not chase. You do the math one more time. It is the math you have done hundreds of times in the last decade. The long math, the boring math, the math nobody at a dinner table wants to hear. If you never add another dollar, at 7% for 25 years, your portfolio hits $542,000. If you keep investing $600 a month, your current rate, it crosses $1.1 million. The realization is not emotional. It is not a burst of feeling. It is mathematical. It is final. Your money has passed the point where it needs you. From this moment forward, time does all the heavy lifting. You are not chasing survival anymore. You are watching something grow that cannot be stopped. You rinse the last plate. You turn off the water. You set the towel on the oven handle. You do not call anyone. Some victories are too quiet to explain. The following weekend, you drive to your father's house. He is 68 now, retired, living on Social Security plus a small pension. He is fine. Not afraid anymore. The yellow notepad is long gone, but not free either. He is balanced on an edge, the way a lot of people his age are balanced. He asks how work is going. You say it's fine. You do not tell him about the spreadsheet, not the machine tab, not the $115,600 sitting across 3 accounts, not the $1.1 million projection, not the $316 a month that appears without you lifting a finger. Some inheritances are money. Some are lessons. Some are warnings. You took his fear and turned it into a number on a screen. He will never know. That's the quietest kind of victory. And it's yours. If this story stayed with you, subscribe. There are more perspectives like this one on the way.